What I'd now like to finish up with is by giving a set of words where on the left-hand side of the chart we'll see words that came into English from a Germanic source and related words that came into English from a Latin source. The similarity between the words will be apparent, and the similarity will be attributable to the fact that the Germanic and the Latin sources themselves go back to a single Indo-European source. So here are words like, notice in eat, the sound T of eat corresponds to the D of edible, and notice the semantic correspondence. Both of those words have to do with eating. The correspondence between T in Germanic and D in Latin is quite regular in English. So if you look at other English words that come from a Germanic source and have a T in them, there is a reasonable chance that you'll find a Latin-based word that has a related meaning where the corresponding sound to the English T, the Germanic T, is a D. And that's the case with true and durable. So the TR of true are really the same as the DR of Latin. Both of those roots go back to the same Indo-European source. The Indo-European source is realized in Latin as DUR, realized in Germanic with a T before the R. And you can see still some meaning correspondence. Something that's true has a certain enduring value, we hope. And durable, of course, means hard. So the idea that if something is true, it has a stability, and that's related to the meaning hard that we get in durable. The word tryst begins with a T and has an R after it, and it turns out that tryst actually comes from the same root as the word true. The idea connecting tryst to true that's put forth in the American Heritage Dictionary that traces a lot of the ancestries of the words that I've relied on heavily in preparing this set of examples. The idea of the connection between tryst and true, which may not be obvious at first, is that a tryst began as a meeting place where you sort of trust that the other person is going to be there to meet with you. And the connection between trust and true is maybe a little easier to see. Let's look at some more examples of sound correspondences. These again involve T in the part of the vocabulary that derives from Germanic and D in the part of the vocabulary that derives from Latin. So in English we have the word to comes from a Germanic source, and that is related to the root du, du, of dual and duet, words of that sort. So the T and D are related, and the W of two is probably related to the U of dual as well. The TW that we see in two, we'll also see in twice, twin, the TW of between, 12, where we can even see more of the structure of 12, a Germanic word. The LV of 12 comes from a root LIF, leaf, in which we can see the modern English word left. That's the meaning of leaf. So the idea of 12 is 2 left after 10. You're counting up and you get to 10 and there's 2 left that you still have to count, and that brings you up to 12. Twine has 2 in it as well. The TW twine refers to the twisting of the fibers that make up the twine, and perhaps even twist is an instance of that. And finally, twill, the weave involves 2, where the LIS, the L at the end goes back to a root LIS, meaning thread. In all of those words are Germanic derived. How do we know? By looking at them. Well, they all have a certain meaning that you can trace, and they all have a T or TW in them. In Latin, along with do, we have words that have sounds that are very similar to do. So double comes from Latin. You can see the 2 in the meaning. Dubious is related. So the du of dubious comes from that. The idea about being dubious is hesitating between 2 alternatives. And with dubious, we get doubt as well. Simpler example, you just go up the numbers. We see the TH sound of 3 is related to the T sound of Latin try. So it's not just that Latin D is related to Germanic T, but Latin T is related to Germanic TH. So we have triangle from Latin. Also happens in Greek trigonometry, and correspondingly we have TH in Germanic. So we've seen D in Latin corresponding to T in Germanic, T in Latin corresponding to TH in Germanic, and one last set of examples I'll give is the K, the hard K sound of Latin corresponding to H, a voiceless velar fricative that comes in Germanic, that comes into English as an H. So the K of unicorn or corner, so you get a point, a pointed object in both cases, comes into English with an H in horn. It also came into English as an H in reindeer. So here the image is of a deer with antlers, horn-like things, and that should kill the popular notion that our modern word reindeer comes from something to do with the kinds of reins that you see on reindeer in Santa Claus pictures and so on. And that's as good a place to stop as any. Thank you.